Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this evening I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. So these are lots to talk about on this video. Going to give you the latest news regarding James Maddison. Also going to give you my own perception on what I think of Odion Ighalo, who Manchester United have just recently recommended in, and also going to be giving you the latest news regarding Paul Pogba, but we will delve into that later on in the video. So I'm just going to give you now the news regarding James Maddison. So according to the Telegraph, they have said that James Maddison is close to signing a new contract with Leicester. So reflecting on that, I'm very sceptical now that Manchester United will sign James Maddison this summer, because obviously we've been interested in James Maddison since last summer, and despite the fact that we've signed Bruno Fernandes, obviously, we still want to get a deal over the line for James Maddison. Now, James Maddison, of course, has still got like 3 years left on his current contract with Leicester, and he's on around £55,000 a week. But I think, Leicester have had breakthrough in negotiations with James Maddison's representatives. Now it's looking likely he's going to be signing a new long-term deal. And I think he's going to be getting this new deal reflecting on his good run of performances with Leicester. But like I mentioned on my videos before when I've spoken about James Maddison, I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. James Maddison, is a very good player. He's well proven in the Premier League. James Maddison is only 23 years of age. He only made his international debut against Montenegro last year for England, but he's into his current second season with Leicester. In his second season with Leicester, he's replicating what he did in his debut season with Leicester, because this is a good statistic. Last season, James Maddison created more chances than any other player in the Premier League, so that's very impressive. Leicester did pay around £20 million for him from Norwich in the summer of 2018, and he did enjoy a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich. I think his new contract isn't going to include a release clause, by the way, but if we are to go in for James Maddison in the summer, he is going to cost us a substantial amount. Probably we'll have to pay around maybe 60 or 70 million pounds, so we'll have to pay a similar fee or the exact same fee as what we paid for Harry Maguire. So looking realistically now that Manchester United are not going to get James Maddison, but we have got quite a few players on our agenda who we could go in for in the summer anywhere, because definitely more signings are needed at the football club, and there is still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, he has recruited 5 new players to Manchester United. He recommended 3 in last summer, and obviously, he brought 2 players in the January transfer window. But, we've got to get more signings at Manchester United in the summer, definitely. But I also expect more players to leave the football club in the summer, because he's still deadwood at Manchester United, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So now I'm going to give you my perception on Odion Ighalo. So it did confirm on transfer deadline day, just before the transfer window shut, that Manchester United had signed Odion Ighalo on loan until the end of the season. It is a 6-month loan. I don't think there's an option to make the deal permanent. Manchester United have paid around £3 or £4 million to get Odion Ighalo in on loan. And like I mentioned, it is a 6-month loan. But I think, Odion Ighalo, from my own perception, will be a great addition to the squad. I'm very delighted now that we have got that experienced striker in, because I think Odion Ighalo is a good alternative to Anthony Martial. He's also a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford, because Marcus Rashford is out for at least the next couple of months with injury. Rashford has sustained a double fracture in his back, and analysed that, Rashford has been one of our best players this season. Odion Ighalo give his own perception on his move to Manchester United, and he said it is a dream come true. Obviously, he is a lifetime Manchester United supporter anywhere. But, I think he'll do well for us, and I do believe Manchester United will give Odion Ighalo the opportunities he does want. Obviously, he's a prolific goal scorer, like he's proven in China. In China, he scored 46 goals in 72 games. He's also played in the Premier League. He's Premier League proven, because he did enjoy 3 years with Watford. In his 3-year spell with Watford, he scored 39 goals in 99 games in all competitions, did the player. And, he's actually a decent player and he's an experienced player. And that's the type of player that Manchester United do need. I think he'd fit in any formation we went with anyway. Obviously, if we went with a 4-2-3, he wouldn't be playing up front on his own. If we went with a 3-4-1-2, he'd be playing up front alongside either probably Martial or Mason Greenwood. I did say, didn't I, that I think Solskjaer needs to drop Martial, put Greenwood there alongside Odion, Ighalo and see how they do combine together. Odion, Ighalo, I do presume, will be making his debut in our game against Chelsea after the international break. Obviously, Solskjaer did say that the winter break is a useful period. Obviously, for our new incomings in that. But Odion Ighalo, I think, will do well for Manchester United. And obviously, you can say he's a replacement for Romelu Lukaku as well. Obviously, it's our recruitment policy is poor though, because it took us 8 or 9 months to get that adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But he's another attacking option basically. Is Odion Ighalo. Don't forget Tottenham offered him a 6-month loan, but his preference was a move to Manchester United. So I'm delighted that we've got him in. Now, I'm going to give you the latest news regarding Paul Pogba. Now, I've just been reading the Manchester Evening News and a few other media outlets, and they've said that Paul Pogba has told his Manchester United teammates that he still wants to leave the football club in the summer. So he has got the same perception now as what he had, last summer, because he did reveal at the beginning of last summer that he wanted to leave Manchester United, and he publicly admitted this because the main explanation why he said he wanted to leave is because he wanted to seek for a new challenge and, of course, rejuvenate his career. Now, of course, Paul Pogba has not played not played many games this season. I think he's only played around 8 games this season. His appearances have been limited, but the main explanation why this is because he's been injured. Obviously, Paul Pogba has been out with an ankle injury. Well, this current injury he's got now is different to the one that he had early on in the season. But he hasn't played many games this season as Paul Pogba. Solskjaer did confirm that he'd had his ankle cast removed. But now, reflecting on Bruno Fernandes now that Bruno Fernandes is in, that means it's more likely that Paul Pogba will leave the football club in the summer. Real Madrid, of course, were relentlessly, linked with Paul Pogba last summer. Real Madrid wanted to get him, but the main explanation why Real Madrid didn't get Paul Pogba is reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him, because we confirmed that we wanted around £150 million. Real Madrid were not reluctant to meet that. Obviously, there was also talks about him possibly making a return back to Turin, and I think Juventus are considering making a move for him in the summer, because Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years in Turin. He did really, really well in Turin, did Paul Pogba. But the vast majority of his performances at Man United since he rejoined have been totally comparison, definitely in that. And, Paul Pogba's still got around, 14, 15 months left on his current contract. The club do have an option to extend it by a further year, but I'm very sceptical that Manchester United will currently do this. Will currently do this. And Paul Pogba, is one of the highest paid players at the football club. Paul Pogba's on, 290 grand a week. Of course, he's our most expensive signing. We paid £89 million for the player. But like I said before, I think Paul Pogba's been disrespecting the club. I've also got the same perception on his agent, Mini Raiola. He's also been disrespecting the club. Some Man United fans would like Paul Pogba to stay. Some United fans would like Paul Pogba to go. Obviously, even though we've got Bruno Fernandes in, it would be still a big loss to lose Paul Pogba in the summer, because when he's at his best, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. But I think he'll end up going in the summer. And I think we can still generate a substantial amount. I think we can still get a good 80, 90 or £100 million for Pogba. Definitely in that. A mistake Man United did make was obviously letting him go when he was a lot younger. Because reflecting back under the Ferguson era, we had Paul Pogba, came through the youth academy, only made a couple of appearances. His appearances were limited, but due to that, we had to let him go on a free transfer to Juventus. Enjoyed 4 good years in Turin, then we bought him for £89 million in 2016. And he's only the age of 20. He is only the age of 26, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But yeah, very convinced that he will leave the football club in the summer. Will Paul Pogba? So that's the latest news regarding that. I gave you the news, didn't I, this morning regarding Jesse Lingard. I think he's another player on his way out of the club in the summer. Jesse Lingard has given his overarching view on this, and he's still keen on remaining at Manchester United. Solskjaer may believe, for me, his own perception, that Jesse Lingard can try and get back to his best form, because I've seen him have some decent spells as a Manchester United player, but I think at least in the last year or so, Jesse Lingard has been so inconsistent. Jesse Lingard, hasn't scored one goal since December 2018 in the Premier League. Last year, he didn't score one goal or one single assist. So that just indicates how bad Jesse Lingard has been for Manchester United in the last year or so. Now, reports came out yesterday, they were saying that obviously, Atletico Madrid and Roma have expressed their interest in Jesse Lingard. So he could actually, go abroad. Obviously, so far up until this point, Jesse Lingard has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United, risen up our youth system. Obviously got loaned out to several clubs. He had a loan spell with Leicester, Birmingham, Brighton and Derby. Lingard does still have 18 months remaining on his current contract, and the club do have an option to extend it by a further year. I think what we'll do is we'll probably make a decision on his future when his 18-month contract has expired. That's if he doesn't leave in the summer. I think Manchester United have been in talks over getting him a new contract, but obviously, we haven't progressed in negotiations. So yeah, definitely Jesse Lingard is now a liability. I've got the same perceptions on Andreas Pereira. I've also now got the same perceptions on Anthony Martial. Jesse Lingard, whether he plays as a number 10, which I think is his predominant position, whether he plays out wide, we just can't... Whatever way we use Jesse Lingard, we just can't seem to get the best out of him, even when he's playing on the right-hand side, to be quite honest with you. But, yeah, we need to get rid of him, and he's on, 100 grand a week at the football club, so we've got to get rid of Jesse Lingard. I think something else Solskjaer needs to do, and he needs to get rid of Anthony Martial. And I think he needs to drop Anthony Martial for now. He needs to definitely drop Anthony Martial, and he needs to play Mason Greenwood ahead of Anthony Martial, because Anthony Martial is becoming a liability. I know people are talking about saying that Martial's not getting enough service, or Martial looks very isolated up there. Obviously, Martial does predominantly play out wide, because since his arrival from Monaco, he has predominantly played out wide. But this season, he's operated in that number 9 role. And a lot of United fans are now starting to feel as though that, that's not where we're seeing the best of him, in that number 9 position. But Mason Greenwood is a better solution than Martial. He needs to start more in the Premier League. In the cup games and that, Greenwood's getting more opportunities from the start, but in the league he's not getting enough starts. I think he's only started around 2 or 3. He's had around 2 or 3 starts in the Premier League this season. Greenwood has scored 10 goals in 20-odd first-team appearances this season for the club. So that just shows how good he's been. And this is only his first season in the senior squad. But reverting back to what I said about Anthony Martial, he's had some good spells as a Manchester United player. Of course, I'll say, he has had a few injuries this season. But he's just not being good enough at the moment. Martial's now made over 200 appearances for the club. He's scored around 60 senior goals in 200-odd appearances, and he is only the age of 24. Obviously, you've got Joe Glazer. That's a big admirer of the player. This is stemming from the Glazers. They're saying that, Solskjaer wants to sell Anthony Martial this summer, and he did sign a 5-year contract last summer, did Anthony Martial. So maybe now he's another player Manchester United should consider getting rid of. Andreas Pereira, he's the same. Too much of a liability. And, we've been playing Andreas Pereira far too much this season, but I think the main explanation why we've been playing him a lot is due to the injury to McTominay. Because McTominay has sustained quite a few injuries this season. I think he also possibly could be back for the game against Chelsea. My perception on Bruno Fernandes is that I think, he's going to do really, really well for Manchester United, is Bruno Fernandes. Solskjaer, of course, himself was delighted with the signing. I thought Bruno Fernandes was absolutely phenomenal on his debut against Wolves. Like I mentioned, Bruno Fernandes had the most touches. He created the most chances in the game. He had 3 shots on target out of the 5 he did have. And, very, very good player is Bruno Fernandes. So I think at Manchester United, he can replicate what he did in his 2.5 years with Sporting Lisbon. 64 goals in 137 appearances in all competitions. That is very, very impressive. But I think Bruno Fernandes is on a different level to the vast majority of our players, and that's my element of concern. And this is something Manchester United do need to adapt to. They do need to adapt to. And also, it's the usage as well that's a concern. Is Solskjaer going to play him in his predominant position every single game? And, like Ryan Giggs, he came out, was it early on today, like he updated you all yesterday? He came out and warned Solskjaer, that Bruno Fernandes could be a liability in that deep midfield role. Because if you noticed against Wolves, he did start in his predominant position, which is that attacking midfielder position, in that attacking midfield. But as it went on in the first half, he rotated it. He put Bruno Fernandes as a holding midfielder. Then he put Andres Pereira in the number 10 in the attacking role, and that shouldn't have happened. And then obviously Bruno Fernandes as a holding midfielder looks very exposed because that's not his predominant position. So I do see where Ryan Giggs is coming from. So what he's basically advising Solskjaer to do is to put Bruno Fernandes in, to keep Bruno Fernandes, in more of an advanced role, basically. Because Bruno Fernandes, we paid quite a lot of money for him. He's like our 4th most expensive signing. We paid, 80 million euros for him, with add-ons included. And that equates to around 68 million in pounds sterling. Bruno Fernandes is going to be here for at least the next 5.5, 6.5 years, because he signed a 5.5 year deal. There was an option of a further year, so that will make it to 6.5 years. And I think he's on a good 100 grand a week, is Bruno Fernandes. Just like, Odion Ighalo is now, because we're paying a third of Odion Ighalo's wages, don't forget. We're paying a third of Odion Ighalo's wages, but I think Bruno Fernandes was worth the money. But we're known for overpaying for players anywhere. We're known for it. £40 million for Matic, overpaid for him. £50 million for Fred, overpaid for him. £80 million for Harry Maguire, overpaid for him. Most expensive defender in the world, second most expensive signing at the club. He's done well, Aaron Maguire, but he wasn't worth the 80 million that Manchester United paid for him. So, yeah, we're known for overpaying for players in recent years. But I think Bruno Fernandes will do well anywhere for Manchester United, definitely. Obviously, Jamie Redknapp recently came out and said that Solskjaer must stop playing safe if he's to revive Manchester United, and if his job is to be saved at the football club. Obviously, Man United and Chelsea is after the winter break. That's going to be a very, very big game for Man United. And, that game, could decide who finishes in the top 4 this season. So it could be a top 4 decider. And we've got to get back to winning ways in the Premier League, because we are winless in our last 3 Premier League games. And in our last 3 Premier League games, we haven't even scored one single goal. We do remain 6 points behind top 4 at the moment. But, we're only in that top 4 race this season is because Chelsea have been, so inconsistent. We've had so many opportunities this season to close that gap on that top 4. So that's also something else that does infuriate me. But we've got quite a few ambitions this season. And those ambitions is to obviously, finish in the top 4. So in that aspect, we can get Champions League football. I know I said that obviously, despite the fact that we've been inconsistent for several years, we're still a massive club with fantastic history. And, we've got the resources in the backing of the clubs to get the players that we do want in. So I still believe we can get the players that we want in the summer. Definitely in that, because like I said, we are a massive club. But we need that top 4 this season, because that will give us a step forward. It would be very, very good as well to get some silverware on the board, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. We've only won 3 trophies since the Alex Ferguson era, and that was the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal, the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. So, yeah, if we could win the FA Cup, that would be good. If we could win the Europa League, that would be good. Plus, the Europa League is another route to Champions League football, definitely in that. So I would be very, very delighted. But, I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season that, I didn't expect Manchester United to win the league this season. I didn't even expect us to mount any kind of title challenge up. But what I did expect is us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. Because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win any silverware in that. We failed to qualify for the Champions League. But, now we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So up until this point, this is the worst we've ever been in the Premier League era. And that is not good enough. It's definitely nowhere not good enough in that. And it's not good enough, and I think, in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations will be to finish in that top 4 and that. Because analysing our squad at the moment, even though Bruno Fernandes and Odion and Ighalo have come in, it's still not good enough to win the league, definitely not. And like I mentioned, we've got a lot of good players in our team. We've got better players probably than Leicester, Sheffield United, but that justifies nothing because, Leicester are higher than us in the league. Sheffield United are higher than us in the league. In the last 6 or 7 years, we've spent even more than City. We've spent more than Liverpool. And obviously, analysing it at the moment, City are strides ahead of us. Liverpool are strides ahead of us. And Manchester United have spent a good 800, 900 odd million pounds on recruiting new players in the last 6 or 7 years. We've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. We've got players on big contracts at the football club, definitely. But, there's all sorts of problems at the club and these cultural problems at Manchester United, and we need someone to come in to change the culture of the club. And we need to see a variety of changes at the club. There's not only problems with the management, there's problems with the, coaching staff. Obviously, the fans have got doubts over the executive. They've got doubts over the club's ownership. So I definitely say that Ed Woodward and the Glazers need to go. I think the Glazers have been running this football club for a good, 15 years now. And obviously, analysing the vast majority of that 15-year period, the Glazers have been generating money out of this club. Also, we've got to get rid of our current board, and Manchester United need to recommend a new board in, definitely in that. And, not only problems with, that, there's obviously no problems on the pitch, because there's a lot of aspects of our game that need to improve. There's still more players that need to go. Solskjaer has confirmed that there will be more departures at Manchester United anywhere. So I expect to see probably 4 to 5 players going this summer. And I expect to see probably around 3 or 4 incomings in the summer as well. So a big summer ahead for Manchester United, definitely. In the summer, it will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 4th window as Manchester United manager, because so far he's had 3 transfer windows, and like I mentioned, he has recruited 5 players in. A good 8 or 9 players, or is it 10 players have left, since his arrival. So take that into account as well. But I just feel as though Solskjaer is not the right manager for Manchester United. He's not the long-term solution for the club. Him bringing 2 good players in doesn't change my perception on him, no. Them 2 players don't change what's going on, behind the scenes at the club, does it? He's still not the right manager. And the main explanations why I don't think Solskjaer's the right manager, because I think the club's too big for him, despite the fact that he knows the traditions of the club. I also think that he's too inexperienced. Got the same perception on Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna. With the size of our club, we need to get someone in with a proven pedigree, a manager to the top level. It's not always the right solution because, we've had 2 world-class managers in through Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Obviously, their tenures didn't work out at Manchester United. It didn't work out under Van Gaal because it was turgid football. His philosophy wasn't right for the club. Jose Mourinho's philosophy wasn't right for the club when we had him. So we've had different managers, with different sort of philosophies, but none of them philosophies have been right for Manchester United, and that is the difference, basically. But I still feel as though that Manchester United need a new manager. Solskjaer's tactically naive. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. Some of his substitutions have been questionable, and I just don't think he knows how to change a game. He doesn't really seem to have a style of play. And whether Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the clubs works out or not, we'll still never forget what he's done for the football club because, like I mentioned, great player for Manchester United for 11 years, flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance, But like I've said on numerous occasions, as a manager, Solskjaer, he's totally comparison to how he was as a player. I'll credit him for what he did as a manager in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well. And obviously, the main explanation why Solskjaer had been given the job permanently is reflecting on how good he did as an interim manager. But I think we made a mistake by giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. He's got 2.5 years left now on his deal. I'm very sceptical that I will see out his 2.5 years deal at the club, to be quite honest with you in that. But he must have been permanent boss now for nearly 11 months. He's been, here overall for almost 14 months. So I do feel as though that he's had long enough at Manchester United. And he feels as though Solskjaer, if he is given the time he's demanding, if he is given the time he's demanding, he thinks he can build a team like Liverpool's. He thinks he can emulate into the next year and Klopp. But it's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. And, but a lot of people still do want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. Man United's the third club he's managing in his managerial career. Before he was here, he managed Mold, he managed Cardiff. Obviously managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years. So he did actually watch his team at this day and age grow and develop, didn't he? So take that into account. So for me, I've already said to you, the players that need to be moved on in the summer, I think Jones needs to be moved on. Too inconsistent, doesn't really get his chances now anywhere. Matic needs to be moved on. Martial, I think, now probably needs to go if he continues his bad run of form up. And he needs to be dropped, like I mentioned. Pereira, Jesse Lingard, maybe perhaps Luke Shaw. He needs to be moved on because, I know he's still getting some chances, but obviously now we see Brandon Williams as our first choice left back ahead of Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw's had a lot of injury problems as a Manchester United player. So these are a few that definitely need to be moved on. But on the other hand, the still players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United. I'd keep Rashford, keep Mata. I know Mata's lost that yard of pace and he's aging up and that. But I still think he's a good cover-up to Bruno Fernandes in that number 10. He's a good cover-up. Because I think Matt has a better number 10 than Lingard and Andres Pereira, especially at this moment in time. So I would keep Matt because I think he still does well when he plays. I would keep him. I'd keep McTominay because before he got injured he did well. I'd keep Fred because I think recently he's rejuvenated himself. I'd keep Lindelof because he's done well alongside Maguire. I'd keep the 3 signings that Solskjaer recommended in last summer. James, I'd keep him. I know he hasn't been so good in the last month, but I'd still keep him. I'd keep Bizaka and I'd keep Harry Maguire. So there is still quite a few players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt. But if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets sacked from Manchester United, I think, our next manager will be Pochettino. If we get Pochettino, it won't be till the end of the season anyway. Because obviously, if Pochettino was to come to Man United now or before the end of the season, Tottenham are then entitled to £10 million in compensation. So, don't forget about that. They would be entitled to that, would Tottenham. But yeah, and I understand our, perception on this and that, we don't really want to sack Solskjaer because he's a club legend and, we don't want to really keep sacking managers because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Moyes went after 10 months, Van Gaal went after a year or so, and Jose Mourinho went after 2.5 years. So Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And all of that. Jadon Sancho is a player that I think we could go in for in the summer as well. Could he be Manchester United's next number 7? Because we have had a lot of number 7s over the years, as you were all aware of. We had the likes of Depay, who Van Gaal brought in once, Michael Owen years ago, Cristiano Ronaldo. So there's a few. We've had a few number 7s over the years and that, Cantona. Yeah, we've had quite a lot. Jadon Sancho, if we had to go in for him in the summer, he will cost us a substantial amount. But, you know, we was relentlessly, you know, linked to him last summer. We went in for him in January 2019. The main explanation why we didn't get Jadon Sancho is because we failed to qualify for the Champions League. I think it'd be more beneficial for his career if he come back to the Premier League. I know he's done well in his couple of years he's been with Dortmund. At this moment in time, he is enjoying a difficult time, though, with Borussia Dortmund. So, I'd love to get Jadon Sancho in because I think he'd complement our team well and he'd fit our system with Sancho. But yeah, definitely he would. But, you know, we've had a lot of injuries this season, but that's not been excusable for how inconsistent we've been. Obviously, you know, good news is Bay's now back from injury. Fosu Mensu's now back from injury. Diego Dalot's just come back. You know, Tuanzebe's still out. You know, Pogba and McTominay's still out. Rashford's still out. You know, could Pogba, McTominay or Tuanzebe, you know, could they be back for the Chelsea game? Obviously, Solskjaer, you know, will provide us with some more news regarding that. So anyway, guys, that's the latest news on James Maddison, latest news on Odion Ighalo, and the latest news on Paul Pogba. Drop me comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.